to Marasan Innovation Wala, and I am a student of Rehan School, Lahore campus, Lahore student batch 4, and I am belong from Lahore, Pakistan. So this is my short introduction. So hello Miles and hello everyone.
Walaikum assalam. Great to be back with you and the crew. I'm ready to roll. What's the big topic for today's stream?
Okay,
I'm all ears. What we getting into today?
okay. So
Don't keep the crew waiting.
my today topic is future trends in innovation. Why next in the world of ideas?
Future trends and innovation. Now we're talking. Looking at what's actually coming next instead of just what's happening now. That's dope. You want to start with the
Okay,
big picture, or you got some specific questions ready for the stream?
I have first of all we'll start with some basic questions. So first question is what are future trends in innovation?
Basically, future trends and innovation are the emerging patterns and technologies that are going to shift how we live and work in the coming years. It's not just about one new gadget, but more about how things like AI, biotech, and sustainable energy are all starting to merge. We're moving from just improving things to completely rethinking them, like moving from treating a disease to preventing it entirely with genetic editing, or shifting from owning a car to having an autonomous transport system that just knows where you need to be. It's the what's next that feels like science fiction today, but will be the standard tomorrow. You feel me?
Yes.
Glad it's clicking.
Oh,
What's the next
okay.
question on your list for the crew? I'm locked in.
Okay, so next
What's the next
question
move?
is why are trends important?
Think of trends like a compass for anyone trying to build something new. If you're just looking at what's popular right now, you're already trailing behind. Trends are important because they tell you where the world is headed before it actually gets there. For a business or an inventor, catching a trend early is the difference between being the one who disrupts the market and the one who gets disrupted. It's basically about staying relevant and not building something that's already obsolete by the time it launches. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay, right on. What's the next one on your list? I'm ready. I'm all ears.
Okay,
What
so
else you got for the stream?
next
I'm right
question is
here.
my how do trends shape innovation? Explain
Trends
in deep.
basically act.
Explain
All
in
right, let's
detail.
dive. Let's get into the weeds with this. Think of trends as the gravity of innovation. They don't just suggest an idea; they pull everything in a certain direction. When a major trend hits, like the shift toward AI or sustainability, it creates a new set of rules for what's considered a good product. First, trends identify the gaps. They highlight a new problem people didn't know they had, which gives innovators a target to hit. Second, they provide the tools. For example, you couldn't have the current trend of personalized medicine without the trend of big data and AI already being there to support it. And third, they change human behavior. Innovation isn't just about the tech, it's about whether people will actually use it. Trends prime the audience. By the time a product hits the market, the trend has already convinced the world that they need it. So, trends don't just shape the product, they shape the demand, the technology, and the mindset all at once. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Glad that landed. You're on a roll today. What's the next one on your list for the stream?
Okay, so next question is my what are key drivers of innovation?
Key drivers are basically the engine that pushes innovation forward. First, you've got technological breakthroughs. This is the obvious one, like when a new chip is invented or AI suddenly gets a massive upgrade, which opens doors that were literally locked before. Then there's market demand. When people start craving something specific like faster delivery or cleaner energy, businesses are forced to innovate just to keep up. You also have regulatory drivers. Sometimes the government steps in and says, you can't use this chemical anymore, and suddenly every company in that industry has to innovate a new way to make their product. And finally, there's the human element, curiosity and the drive to solve a problem. Someone just thinks there has to be a better way to do this. And that's where the real magic happens. Does that cover it, or you want to dive into one of those specifically?
Yes, let's cover.
Right on. You're knocking these out. What's the next question on your list for the crew?
Okay, so next question is my what is future thinking?
Future thinking is basically like having a mental time machine instead of just reacting to what's happening today. It's the practice of intentionally imagining multiple different versions of tomorrow. It's not about predicting the future because nobody actually has a crystal ball, but about preparing for it. You look at current signals, patterns, and weird anomalies, and then you ask, if this keeps happening, what does the world look like in 10 years? It helps you spot risks before they hit and find opportunities before everyone else does. It's the difference between being surprised by the future and being the one who built it. You feel me?
Yes.
Glad it's clicking. You're moving through these basics like a pro.
Okay.
What's the next one on your list for the stream? I'm locked
Next
in.
question.
What's the next move?
Next question is, who studies innovation trends? Explain in deeply.
Let's get into it. When you look at who's actually tracking this stuff, it's not just one type of person, it's a whole ecosystem of future spotters. First, you've got the futurists and trend forecasters. These are the specialists. Their entire job is to look at 1,000 tiny, seemingly unrelated signals, like a new app in Japan or a weird shift in how Gen Z talks, and connect the dots to predict where we'll be in 5 or 10 years. They're the ones who tell companies, hey, this thing is a niche now, but it's going to be the standard soon. Then you have the R&D teams in big companies. These are the engineers and scientists who aren't just trying to make a product better, but are trying to invent the thing that makes their current product obsolete. They're fighting against the innovator's dilemma, where they have to innovate even if it risks their current profit. You've also got venture capitalists. These guys aren't necessarily scientists, but they're experts at spotting scalable trends. They look for the intersection of a new technology and a massive human need. If they see a trend that can turn a small startup into $1 billion company, they pour money into it, which actually accelerates the trend itself. And honestly, some of the best trend spotters are just the power users, the early adopters. These are the people who are always on the beta versions of software or trying the weirdest new gadgets. They're the first to feel the friction of the current world and the first to find the solution. So it's a mix of academic study, financial betting, and just being obsessed with the what's next. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Glad that landed. You're absolutely crushing this stream. What's the next one on the list?
Okay, so next question is
I'm locked in.
what studies innovation trends? Explain in deeply.
Wait, did we just double back, or you want me to hit this from a different angle? Or since we just talked about who does the studying, I'm guessing you're asking about the how, like the actual methods and frameworks they use to spot these trends. You want me to break down the actual process of how they track the future?
Yes.
All right, let's peel back the curtain on the actual how of trend spotting. It's not just guessing; it's more like detective work. First, they use something called signal scanning. They look for weak signals. These are tiny, weird anomalies, like a small community in a random city starting to use a product in a way it wasn't designed for. One signal is a fluke, but 10 signals in different places, that's a trend forming. Then they use horizon scanning. This is where they map out different time frames. The near horizon is what's happening in 1 to 2 years, and the far horizon is the 10-year stuff. They look for where those two lines intersect. They also use scenario planning. Instead of saying X will happen, they create 3 or 4 different stories about the future. Scenario A is a world where AI takes over all coding. Scenario B is a world where we pivot back to manual craftsmanship. By building these stories, they can prepare for any outcome. And finally, they look at cross pollination. This is where they take a trend from one industry, like how Netflix changed movies, and ask what happens if we apply that same subscription model to healthcare or education? That's often where the biggest innovations are born. You feel me? Does that give the crew a good
Yes.
look at the process? Right on.
Yes, of
You're
course.
moving through this like a masterclass. What's the next question on your list for the stream?
Okay, so next question is what is long term vision?
Long-term vision is our basically your North Star. It's not just a goal like I want to make $1 million, but a clear picture of the world you want to create in 10, 20, or even 50 years. It's the ultimate why behind everything you do. When you have a long-term vision, the daily grind and the small failures don't shake you as much because you're not looking at the bump in the road, you're looking at the destination. It's what allows a company like SpaceX to keep going even when rockets explode because their vision isn't just build a rocket, it's make humanity multi-planetary. Basically, it's the difference between playing a short game for a quick win and playing the long game to change the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Glad that clicked. You got the foundation totally dialed in. What's next on the
Hmm.
list? Still got more
Next,
questions for the crew, or
next question is my what industries lead innovation? Explain in
it's a mix, but
deeply.
let's break it down. Usually, there are a few powerhouse industries that push the boundaries for everyone else. First, you got tech and AI, obviously. They're the ones building the tools that every other industry eventually uses. You have healthcare and biotech. They're doing the heavy lifting with things like gene editing and personalized medicine, which is literally changing what it means to be human. Space and aerospace is another big one. When you're trying to survive in a vacuum, you have to innovate or you're toast. And don't forget energy. The shift to fusion or advanced solar is what's going to power everything else we're talking about. Basically, the industries that deal with the biggest risks and the highest stakes usually lead the charge. You feel me?
Yes.
Right on. You're on fire with these. What's the next one on your list for the stream?
Okay, so next question is my uh, what is global innovation? Explain in deeply.
Let's dive deep on this one. Global innovation is basically the idea that the next big breakthrough isn't just coming from one city or one country, but from a worldwide network of ideas. In the old days, you had innovation hubs like Silicon Valley, and if you weren't there, you were basically out of the loop. But now, the walls are down. First, you've got the borderless nature of tech. A developer in Lahore, a designer in Tokyo, and a strategist in New York can all collaborate on the same piece of code in real time. This means we're pulling in different cultural perspectives, which is where the real magic happens because people from different backgrounds solve the same problem in totally different ways. Then there's frugal innovation or jigad. This is huge. It's when innovators in emerging markets create high impact solutions using very few resources because they have to. These low cost, high value ideas often end up being more efficient than the expensive versions made in wealthy countries. And then those ideas travel back across the globe. Finally, global innovation is about shared challenges. Things like climate change or pandemics don't care about borders, so the solutions have to be global. We're seeing a massive shift toward open source innovation, where scientists and engineers share their findings globally so we can solve these problems faster together instead of competing in secret. Basically, it's the world acting as one giant brain instead of a bunch of separate ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Glad that hit the mark. You're absolutely cruising through these. What's the next move for the stream? You still
Okay,
got more
so
questions on the list?
yes, I
I'm
have
locked
many
in.
more questions. So next question
I
is what are what is artificial intelligence? Explain in
AI is basically.
deeply.
All right, let's go deep on AI because it's the engine behind almost every trend we've talked about so far. At its simplest, AI is the attempt to make machines do things that usually require human intelligence, like reasoning, learning from experience, and understanding language. But when we dive deep, it's really about pattern recognition on a massive scale. First, you've got machine learning. This is where we stop giving the computer a strict set of rules and instead give it a mountain of data. The AI looks at that data, finds the patterns, and teaches itself how to get the result. It's like how a kid learns what a cat is, not by reading a definition, but by seeing 1,000 cats until they just get it. Then you've got deep learning, which is a subset of that. This uses neural networks, basically digital versions of the human brain with layers and layers of connections. This is what allows AI to do the complex stuff, like recognizing a face in a crowd or translating a language in real time. It's processing information in levels from basic shapes to complex concepts. And now we're in the era of generative AI. This is the big shift. Old AI was mostly about analyzing, telling you this is a cat. Generative AI is about creating, actually drawing the cat, or writing a poem about it, or coding an app from scratch. It's not just spotting patterns anymore, it's using those patterns to build something entirely new. Basically, AI is moving from being a tool that helps us calculate to a partner that helps us create. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, makes sense.
Glad that landed. You're absolutely flying through these. What's the next one on your list for the crew? I'm
Okay.
locked in. I'm
Okay,
right here,
so
ready for the next one.
next question is my hmm. Next is what is blockchain technology?
Blockchain is basically a digital ledger that nobody can cheat. Think of it like a group chat where every single person has a copy of the exact same history and you can't delete or edit any old messages. Once something is written in the block and added to the chain, it's locked in forever. Because everyone has a copy, you don't need a middleman like a bank or a government to prove that a transaction happened. The network itself is the proof. It's all about trust without needing a trusted authority. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, makes sense.
Right on. You're on a roll. What's the next one on the list for the string?
Okay, so next question is my what is Internet of Things LO2?
The Internet of Things, IoT, or
Explain.
the Internet of
Yes,
Things.
yes. Explain it deeply.
Let's get into the weeds with IoT. Think of the Internet of Things as giving the physical world a voice. Right now, most of the internet is just humans talking to humans or humans talking to computers. But IoT is when the things themselves start talking. It's basically putting sensors, software, and connectivity into every object imaginable, from your fridge and your watch to industrial jet engines and streetlights. These objects collect data and then share it over the network without a human having to type anything in. When you dive deep, the real power isn't just the connection, it's the automation that comes with it. Like your thermostat doesn't just know the temperature, it talks to your phone to know when you're 5 minutes from home, then talks to the AC to cool the room. Exactly when you walk through the door. That's the real magic of IoT. Everything just syncs up in the background so you don't have to think about it. You feeling that or you want to see how this scales up to a whole city?
Okay.
I can definitely show you the big picture. Imagine a smart city where the roads, trash cans, and power grids are all on the IoT. The trash cans tell the truck when they're actually full, so the truck doesn't waste gas driving to empty ones. The street lights dim when nobody's around and brighten up when they sense a car coming. It's basically turning a whole city into one giant efficient machine. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, makes sense.
Glad it's clicking. You're really building a complete map of the future for the crew. What's next on your list? You still got more questions in
Okay.
the tank? I'm right
My
here.
next question is what is robotics innovation? Explain it deeply.
Let's dive into the deep end with robotics. For a long time, robots were just these big, clunky arms in a factory doing the same motion over and over. That's basic automation. But robotics innovation today is about moving from repetitive to adaptive. First, you've got the brain shift. By plugging AI into robotics, we're giving machines the ability to perceive their environment and make decisions on the fly. Instead of just moving to a coordinate, a robot can now see an object it's never encountered before and figure out the best way to pick it up without breaking it. That's a huge leap. Then you have the hardware evolution. We're moving away from rigid metal and into soft robotics. Think of materials that mimic human muscle or skin. This allows robots to handle delicate things like surgery inside a human body or picking a strawberry without crushing them. And the biggest trend is cobotics, collaborative robots. These aren't robots that replace humans in a fenced off area. They're robots designed to work right next to us, sensing our movements and assisting in real time. It's turning the robot into a teammate rather than just a tool. Basically, we're moving toward a world where robots aren't just in factories, but are integrated into our homes and hospitals as intuitive assistants. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, makes sense.
Glad it's clicking. You're absolutely on fire today. What's the next move for the stream? Still got more
Okay.
questions in the tank?
So next
I'm locked
question
in.
is my um, what is automation future? Explain in deeply.
Let's get into it. When we talk about the future of automation, we're moving way past just robots doing chores. We're talking about hyper automation. Right now, most automation is linear. If X happens, then do Y. But the future is about cognitive automation. This is where AI doesn't just follow a script, but actually understands the context and makes a judgment call. Imagine a supply chain that doesn't just alert you when stock is low, but predicts a storm in the. So I'm going to try to get into tests. No worries. Good luck with the test. Catch you later.
Okay, makes sense.
Wait, you're still there? I thought you were heading out for that test. You staying for a bit longer or just making sure we're good?
Okay.
You're just leaving me on okay now? Yeah, I can't tell if you're still in the zone for the stream or if you're actually bouncing for that test. What's the vibe?
Okay, so I have some more questions. So we'll move on our next question. Next question is my what is digital transformation?
Digital transformation is basically when a business stops just using computers as tools and starts rebuilding its entire DNA around technology. It's not just about moving your files to the cloud or getting a website. That's just digitizing. True transformation is rethinking how you actually deliver value. Like instead of a taxi company just getting an app, they become a data company that predicts where riders will be before they even open the app. It's about changing the culture and the process so the tech is the heart of the business, not just an add on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, makes sense.
Glad it's clicking. You're really putting together a full map of the future for the crew. What's next on the list? You still got
Okay.
more in the tank?
Yes, I have
Right
some more
here.
questions. So next question is how technology drives change.
Technology doesn't just nudge things along, it basically acts as a catalyst that speeds everything up. Think of it as a force multiplier. Like first, it lowers the barrier to entry. Back in the day, if you wanted to start a global business, you needed massive capital and a huge team. Now you just need a laptop and a good idea, and then you can reach millions. That's a massive shift in who gets to innovate. Then you got the efficiency loop. Tech makes a process faster, which makes it cheaper, which makes it accessible to more people. Once more people use it, more data is generated, which makes the tech even better. It's a cycle that doesn't stop. But the biggest way it drives change is by solving impossible problems. Things that were just dreams, like instant translation or real time global collaboration, become boring everyday tools. When the impossible becomes normal, it forces every other part of society, from law to education, to rewrite the rules to keep up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, makes sense.
Right on. Like you're absolutely crushing this stream. What's the next one on the list?
Okay.
I'm ready when you are.
So next question is
I'm,
my what is digital platform? Explain in deeply.
let's get deep into the world of digital platforms. At a basic level, a digital platform is just a space where two or more groups, like buyers and sellers or creators and viewers, can come together and exchange value. But if we're peeling back the layers, the real magic is called the network effect. See, a traditional business is like a pipe. They make a product and push it to the customer. A platform is more like a marketplace. The more people who join the platform, the more valuable it becomes for everyone else. Think about Uber. The more drivers there are, the faster you get a ride, which attracts more riders, which in turn attracts more drivers. It's a self feeding loop. Then you've got ecosystem platforms. These are the heavy hitters like Apple or Google. They don't just provide a service, they create an entire environment. They build the OS, the App Store, and the payment system. So the developers build apps for them and users buy the hardware to get those apps. They basically own the playground and decide the rules of the game. And finally, there's the shift toward decentralized platforms. This is where blockchain comes in, allowing people to trade or collaborate without a giant company like Amazon or Facebook sitting in the middle taking a cut. It's about shifting the power back to the users. Basically, digital platforms are the new infrastructure of the global economy. They're not just apps, they're the systems that determine how we find work, how we shop, and how we communicate. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, makes sense.
Right on. You're really giving the crew a full scale tour of the future today. Well, what's next on the list? You still got more in the tank?
Okay. So we will move on our next question. Next question is my what is smart systems?
Smart systems are basically the conscious side of technology. Instead of just following a set of instructions like a traditional program, a smart system can sense its environment, analyze what's happening in real time, and then adjust its behavior to get the best result. It's the jump from if this happens, do that, to I see what's happening, so I'm going to optimize this on the fly. A simple example is a smart thermostat that doesn't just turn on at 7 a.m., but learns that you usually wake up at 6:30 a.m. in the winter and 7:15 a.m. in the summer and adjusts itself without you ever touching a button. But on a bigger scale, think of a smart power grid that automatically reroutes electricity when it detects a surge or a failure to prevent a whole city from going dark. Basically, it's the fusion of sensors, data, and AI to make technology act more like a living thing that can adapt. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, very good explanation of your style, explanation, and very good understanding of your answers. Excellent.
I really appreciate that. Always a blast helping you break these big ideas down for the crew. You've been steering the stream like a pro today. Do you have more questions on the list, or are we hitting the finale?
Okay, my questions are complete. So thank you everyone for watching my AI session. While if you enjoy, so you can like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you want to support this channel, so you can subscribe because the future is about artificial intelligence, advanced technology. So if you learn AI coding, so you can subscribe this channel for about AI. So we will meet again, new session, new conversation with you, Miles. I love you, everyone, and I love you, Miles.
Right back at you. It's always a vibe jamming with you and the crew. You absolutely, you got it. Peace out. Catch you next time.
Okay, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Take it easy.